Happy Friday, everybody. This is Fun with Marge with Designs by Marge, and I'm Margie Norte. So I hope that everyone has had a productive week and they can leave that at work and come and have fun with me tonight or whenever you've chosen to do the video. What we're doing today is a Christmas card, as promised. This is from the Peaceful Poinsettia bundle, and you can see there's a lovely poinsettia here, and we're going to do some embossing in gold and some blending pens because they're alcohol based, and we're going to do some die cutting. Okay, so the bundle is Peaceful Poinsettia. It's a beautiful bundle. It has a number of options in it, as all of them do, for some beautiful cards. I can see, so many different cards in this bundle. But today what we're going to do is we're going to use the poinsettia, and we're going to use the border. We're going to use the sentiment, have yourself a merry little Christmas, and we're going to use a little piece of holly here. So here is a list of the supplies that you will need for this, so you want to be sure and take a screenshot of that. The as I said, it's Peaceful Poinsettia bundle, and everything has the product number here. So the cardstock that I've chosen to use is Shaded Spruce, and which I think is just a perfect Christmas color. And then we have two pieces of Whisper White, one for the outside and one for the inside. So it's really simple up to this point. We're also going to be using some glimmer paper, and it has 3 different colors in it. It has the red, it has a beautiful gold, and it also has a really pretty green that would actually go with it as well, with the Shaded Spruce. Okay, but we on this card are going to use the red. Okay, you can see I've done a few of them. Okay, so then we want to go on this one. Obviously we're going to be doing Versamark, and we're going to use a gold embossing powder. Along with that, you need your embossing buddy and your heat tool, so you want to gather those supplies. I used in here Basic Jewels, the red rhinestone, on one of the cards, and I actually did a couple of them, so you can see that on this one I left the holes in the center of the poinsettia and I used the red rhinestones. On this one, I decided that I wanted to leave the holes covered in the center, and I added a rhinestone to it, and then the red one's out here, a clear rhinestone. Okay, so here are your measurements. They're the standard measurements. There are only 3 pieces: the base, the outside layer, and the inside. Okay, so you want to make sure that you take a screenshot of that as well. Okay, and we'll get started. The first thing that we're going to do is to work with the layers of the card. And what we need to do first is to pull out our border. And you want to place your border so that you have just a little bit showing on either side, and then run it through the Big Shot. And I'll tell you, with anything like this, I run it through, run it back, run it through, run it back, so that I can make sure that it cut well. It probably would to begin with, but I don't like taking chances with that. Okay, so I don't like to use the brush on this one because this is the front of our card. So you just kind of carefully lift it off here, okay? And you'll need to clean all of these out. All you got to do is just punch them with your piercer, but I'll do that later when we're not trying to do the video. And for these pieces that got left behind, you take your piercer and you just punch them out. Those kind of get stuck in there. And it's because of all those little pine leaves, or nettles, I guess you call them. Okay, so we want to set that out. Now we're going to move on to our embossing. Okay, so the first thing we do when we're embossing is we use our embossing buddy. I keep my embossing buddy in a bag so that it stays clean. You want to do the entire piece of cardstock, okay? Because when you're using the emboss powder, it can like fly around, and you don't want it to stick to something that's on your cardstock. So I do the entire sheet. I see a piece I need to take out when we're done with this part. Okay, so now what I want to do is open my Versamark, take my sentiment and get it inked up with the Versamark, and I want it down in the lower part of this, like off side of the leaf. And then I want to take my little one, and I want my berries to be in the corner here. So I look and line that up and then stamp it. Please be careful not to rock, because you don't want lines in your, because the gold emboss doesn't care, it'll pick it right up. Okay, and now to keep it as neat as possible, because I do get sloppy when I'm doing this, I'm using 2 different layers of protection, and I still get it everywhere. It's just what I do. Okay, you want to look at it and make sure that it's covered well. Get your other little piece and put it on there. Knock off any excess. Okay, and then we're going to take it over to the heat tool and heat it up. Okay, so now we want to make sure that it's covered well, it's all shiny, you don't have any areas of that didn't get heated well. And we don't, so we can move on. Okay, so our next step is to just set this aside, and we're going to cut out our poinsettia. So you remember, oh no, you don't remember. So this is an adhesive sheet that you can get from Stampin' Up. I gave you the product number. You pull this back, you lay your paper down this way in there, push it down, and then cut what you need. I already have mine added to this one, but these sheets are extremely handy, and I will show you why after we get this cut. So I want to take my poinsettia. This one does the, cuts it out, right? And this one gives you all the details. I always go by this, these leaves, because it's less time consuming to do them, to know where the pieces are. So I will cut it out and I will be right back. Oh, by the way, is that what I do when I'm working with glimmer paper is that I have plates that are glimmer paper only. Otherwise, if you use your good plates, you'll have the glitter all over, right? And you don't want that. So that little piece of advice. I learned that one the hard way, let me tell you. Okay, so after you've added on your adhesive sheet, it makes this a little thicker than your regular paper. So you want to make sure that you go back and forth on it enough that you have cut through the paper well. So now I'm going to take my piece of foam and my little brush, and I'm going to brush through this so it'll let go. So you can see that it did let go of that. punch out whatever is left behind, right? Now, whenever you're doing this, these pieces are going to be sticky because they're coming off of the adhesive. So you don't have to worry about whether the paper background stayed on there or not. Doesn't matter one way or the other. In fact, it makes it a little easier to clean up all these pieces out of the trash can. So you just pick all that out, and you can see they come out really easy because we have made sure to cut it thoroughly. Okay. Okay. So now we can do this in one of two ways. Okay, and I'll show you before we start that. With my little cards, one of them I took the holes out. The other one I didn't, and I put a rhinestone in the center of it. So you choose which one you like, and then go from there. Then you're gonna get a hold of the paper that's on the back and just lift it off. And you'll notice a couple of the centers came out with mine, so I'm gonna punch the rest of them out to make them with holes, because, you know, we want it to be perfect, right? And of course it's sticky, so you want to make sure that you get all of them off of the back. So that it sticks well. All right. So now we can put that away. And we want to, you'll see that there's a little bit of an outline of the flower, and it's these same three, it's a leaf and two blossoms that are going to fit right in there. And it just sticks right down. Okay? And that's it. That's your front. Okay? Now for the inside, we've done our little leaf. And what I wanted to do is I took the light cherry cobbler, the large end of it, and I colored just inside of the gold emboss. And then I took the dark, the small end of it, and they are very tightly closed, and just did the outline of it. So it gives it a little bit of dimension. Okay, and then I just want to do the dark olive on this one, so I'm not even going to use the light. And you just color it inside the gold to make your leaves. And you can do it either way you want. If you want to add the light in there and do the lines and all of that stuff, that's fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. On the other two cards that I did, I did do the lines and did them, you know, in the light and the dark. But I think I like this better. Okay, so now we're going to put our card together. So we'll get our base. And we're going to fold it and use our bone folder on both sides to make it nice and crisp. And another thing that I always do is when I get to this part, I mark my cards that, you know, this is a card that I made for you, right? And so, you know, I have my own little stamp that I use, and I think that personalizes it really nice and lets them know that you made this card. Okay, so now on the back, we're going to use our snail adhesive. And you want to try not to get it in the open areas, right? But you want to be sure that you cover all of the other areas. Oops. Okay. And then we're going to place that on our card. Make sure we've got that nice and even. Okay. And then we're going to go on the inside. And this gives folks a lot of space to write. Which, you know, you like to tell people what you've done in the year and what's special, and, you know, especially family members, you know, you need some space to talk to them. Okay. And that's your card. Okay. Nice and easy. Takes no time to make. So next week, we're actually going to be doing, I love this card. And this is actually going to be with a snowflake blizzard, I believe is what it's called, but we'll go over that next week. And I just fell in love with it. And we're going to do this cute little design that's on the inside of it. And actually, you can lift it up to give it some dimension, like so. And I will show you how that's done. And when your person, whoever you decide to send the card to, gets the card, they're going to be really surprised. Okay, so I would appreciate you liking and sharing the video with your friends and family, and letting me know what things you might want to see in the future. You know, one of the things I forgot to do is to add the gold the red jewels to this. And what I did was actually just put one in the smaller openings that represent the berries. And that's it. Okay, so you guys have a great week, and I will see you again next week.